So I was just scrolling through FGO Wiki looking for a topic I could milk a video off of in terms of FGO's 7th anniversary, and then I stumbled across the SSR ticket selector, and I almost forgot that I never actually made a video on this because my answer has always been extremely clear, which is pick Black Grill over everything if you don't have MLB Black Grill. I kind of want to elaborate on why I say that. So yeah, this is a very casual video that I just came up with on the fly, so hope you guys enjoy. So the ticket allows you to choose one of these 7 CEs: Formocraft, Imaginary Around, Limited Zero Over, Kaleidoscope, Prisma Cosmos, Black Grill, and Volumen. So let's get the first 3 CEs out of the way. These 3 CEs are basically the same CE except they buff different card types. They are full attack stat and they buff their corresponding card types by 25% and 30% at MLB. So these 3 are pretty obviously not really worth picking at all. Imaginary Around used to be really good back in the day when the game was a lot simpler and quick single targets were dominating against bosses such as Jack the Ripper or Kintoki Rider. All you do is you spam MPQQ chains and then try to get your MP back as often as possible. But as the game slowly evolved and us getting better CEs, if you want to solo with a quick servant, for example, you don't always do MPQQ chains even, you do mighty chains a lot, so something like a Punny Lake, which buffs all your cards, would probably be better, and if you're trying to spam your quick MP, CEs such as Traces of Christmas, which is completely free, will probably give you an easier time because it has a starting charge and MP gain boost. And more or less, it's the same for these 2 other CEs. Limited Zero Over, I still see some play in like buff stacking if you want to maximize your Buster crit damage. It's a lot easier to reach critical damage cap than Buster up cap in these kinds of buff stacking teams, so Limited Zero Over sometimes is chosen over Victor of the Moon, but honestly this is a very niche situation, so I won't consider it either. And Formocraft, honestly, I think has never been that great, because a lot of times you would probably rather be MP centric with Arts DPS already, because you probably choose your support Arts cards more than, just always spamming your DPS's Arts cards. And especially now with so many good free options, namely Ocean Flyer, this is just also not a great CE. Next we move on to the other 2 that in my opinion are slightly better: Prisma Cosmos and Volumen. So Prisma Cosmos is a very greedy CE. It only starts to show its value if the fight drags on for over 10 turns because, it is a total of 100 MP charged across 10 turns. And even if you're comparing that to a Kscope, front-loading all 100 MP charges a lot more stronger than drip feeding you 10 every single turn. However, you can obviously still put this on characters such as Merlin or Tamamo, but usually I do prefer starting charge CEs in order for them to use their MP immediately. So you start the warm-up engine faster, which yields similar results to just equipping a Prisma Cosmos in my opinion. The only servant that I really use this CE on anymore is Lady Avalon, because Lady Avalon has a lot of charge skills in her kit, and sometimes I don't know what other CEs to put on her, so having this CE is pretty nice. But honestly, even then, I wouldn't really consider this CE. And Volumen, actually, I have a slightly better opinion of compared to Prisma Cosmos because it's an interesting tech choice, right? You can always put it on, let's say, a taunt servant like George to forcefully extend his survival period by an extra turn. This can allow him to tank multiple single target MPs or just very devastating crit damage from a boss, for example. And you can also just put this on like a frail support that doesn't have any defensive properties that you want to keep alive for multiple turns. For example, I have used it on Oberon in certain challenge quests where he would come onto the field too early, but I would like to keep him alive for a couple of turns before I finally use his skill 3 to finish off the enemy. I'm not saying that this is always going to be a good CE. In fact, I feel like most of the time you do not bring this CE, and also MLB has no purpose for the CE because it only increases the flat damage increase. But sometimes in certain scenarios I do still find myself using this CE. I would say that at most you probably only need 3 copies, and usually for a normal person, 1 copy is more than enough because you're not going to be using Volumen that often anyways. And finally, we reached the 2 most picked CE, which is of course Kscope versus Black Grill, and I just feel like nowadays Black Grill is so much better than Kscope because MP charge is so much easier to come by compared to back in the day, right? Most supports have a targetable or even team-wide battery, and most DPSs also has a self battery. Add on the fact that there are so many good free CEs that have a 50 starting charge and a decent amount of damage boost or MP gain boost. You basically never want to give your main DPS a Kscope to begin with. And even for supports that want to use their MP, most of them have self MP batteries to help them with their own MP, such as Castoria having a team-wide 30 battery that can help herself charge her own MP as well. You got characters like Van Gogh, who has a 60 battery that can conditionally go higher, Miss Crane, who has a 100 battery if you have 20 stars, and then you also have, of course, other characters such as Himiko having 50 battery, Sherlock Holmes also has 50 battery, Constantine has 30 battery, even 4 stars like Yui Shosetsu has self 30 battery and the team-wide 20 battery, right? So no supports realistically need a Kscope to immediately use their MP, other than a couple of rare occasions. Like Caster Scotty is still one of the supports that I really much like to use Kscope with, because even though she has a battery, you usually want to use it on the DPS, and she doesn't have any team-wide spread charge, for example. But even characters such as Tamamo, where you very often pair with Castoria, you know, despite not having any MP charge effects in her skill set, you can still equip her with a CE such as Demonic Bodhisattva if you have her append skills up, because Castoria just has a 30 MP spread charge and can help with charging your other supports MP. So, you know, charging MP is just such an easy task compared to back in the day, and even if you need extra charge, you can also go back to the 4-star rarity, which you know, gives you 75% MP charge at MLB. Once again, especially when you consider Castoria's spread 30 MP charging effect, if you are pairing your other support with Castoria, you basically never have to worry about using a Kscope ever. Unless you want to MP back-to-back with your support, then that's a completely different story, but the only time you really need that is for like damage stacking stuff or TA or min-turn stuff, so I'm not going to recommend that in this video either. On the contrary, Black Grill is going to be the best option for your main DPS a lot of the times. If it's an event without a damage CE, for 90++, Black Grill is very often the best choice for your main DPS. Same goes for the challenge quest or raids. Essentially, the only time that you really don't want to use a Black Grill is when the event has a damage bonus CE. And of course, you know, if you really need a starting charge bonus, you can still use one of those free CEs, but those free CEs cannot provide nearly as much damage boost to your MP as Black Grill. I feel like Black Grill's demerit makes a lot more sense back in the day, because back in the day, it is a lot harder to get your MP, so before you actually get to cash in on that massive boost on your MP, you have to struggle to get your MP first, and in the meantime, you're also taking 500 HP damage every single turn. Nowadays, all you do is just throw your support's battery on your main DPS and immediately firing off a super powerful MP, and then that MP gives you refund, so you get to use it again on the following turn. So the 500 damage demerit just becomes basically not a thing, since you're using your MP so often, you're just shredding all of your opponents in very quick succession. So in my opinion, Black Grill is a CE very much balanced for, you know, the initial stages of FGO, and nowadays it's just very unbalanced. So if you want a ultra simplified version of this guide, if you don't have MLB Black Grill, I would always pick Black Grill first, regardless if you have any of the other CEs. You might argue that if you're free to play, even if you have 2 Black Grills, it's still 3 Black Grills away from MLB, but I think it's such a big like power spike if you have a MLB Black Grill for your account. So if you really do plan on playing this game for a while after 7th anniversary and also play it semi-seriously, I would still always go for the Black Grill. Now, you can technically go for a Kscope if you only have 1 Black Grill and none of the other CEs, but in this day and age, I would much rather pick some other alternatives, either the 4-star low rarity one or some other welfare CEs that also has 50 MP charge. However, if you already have an MLB black grill, then of course there's no reason to go for a second one. You can go ahead and go for your Kscopes, either to MLB it or just to get another one. You can also technically consider Volumen as a tech choice, but I just feel like all of these other CEs have such lower power levels compared to black grill and Kscope that unless you already have enough Kscopes and black grill, at the very least MLB on both, then of course I can recommend Volumen. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this slop of a video. I threw this together within like 1 to 2 hours because I can't really think of a better topic to make a video on today. So yeah, thank you for tolerating my occasional bad videos. But yeah, see you guys in the next one. Maybe another banner breakdown soon.